Good afternoon. So, at the Biu Jee level, we are told that, Biu Jee stops the trap before it is formed. And that's, yes, that's a technique, or a use for Biu Jee, but it's also a principle. Principle of stop, the trap before it is formed. And so, for instance, a choke, that's a bad trap to be in. Choke is a bad thing, and we've studied many wonderful ways to get out of chokes from different directions. But it would be better not to be in a choke. Yes, we need to study to get out of them, but to put the time in to actually counter them as they're forming. So I see that that principle of stopping the attack, while it is still forming. Stop the trap, while it is still forming. There's a maxim in Wing Chun that says, grabbing the throat is a ruthless technique that once commenced cannot be stopped. And so I used to think that, well, that must imply to this. Well, that is a ruthless technique. It would hurt if I hit him that way, and if I grabbed, and I could possibly hit him. But can it be stopped? I would say that it would be pretty easy for him to double fun or do whatever he wants to do. Well, could easily have gotten out of that technique to be worthy of a maxim, across the time. It occurred to me one day, grabbing the throat, once commenced, cannot be stopped. This is my idea of grabbing the throat, all right? A choke. It occurred to me, they're talking about choking, is how I interpret that. And, we have the choke within the Biu Jee form, within the same guizhong motions of here to here, such that if I swing that same guizhong over and come down and set the Biu Jee from the top side, that's what actually forms the choke. And so I thought to myself, and I've encountered some people that were very good at it's not that hard to get somebody into a choke position. If we're in open position and Matt punches, I go here and come around for the choke. All it takes is what we, when we do double pull, that type of loy pop type of a vibe puts you right into the choke. If he punches and I bong sao, put him into the choke. If he punches and I Biu Jee, same thing. Put him into the choke. You can come from the inside. If he roundhouse punches and he cross rounds the other way, we could put somebody into a choke, or better yet, he roundhouse punches and I go here, put somebody into a choke. I'm just saying, no matter what you do, you can put somebody into a choke with a very simple toe ma step or a si young ma step, depending on your footwork. If we're in closed position, let's say he punches, and I do a lead jump, I could go strike into a choke. If he punches and I do a rear Biu Jee, I pull and put him into a choke. A choke is a ruthless technique. Once commenced, it's, I wouldn't say impossible, but dang near. And you've seen many UFC fights that ended because they couldn't get out of the choke. And so how do we prevent something like that? And so I thought, and it occurred to me that the poison is the cure. The guizhong motion that we use to form the choke is the solution to the choke, of how not to get there. It occurred to me that as we've been taught in the Silim Tao to use our Hao Chong Jin, if he were to kick me from behind and I go here to block on that low line, or if it was a pull or something, if I was doing the same pivoting guizhongs that I was doing before, like if I had just been here, then my hand would go back, over, or if I'm going forward, it would go better where you could see it. See? Arm goes back, over. Right there, that looks a lot like Silim Tao Hao Chong Jin. And so we could prevent, not knowing, like if he punches, he doesn't know if I'm going to slap him in the back. He doesn't know if I'm going to kick him in the back. And he doesn't know if I'm going to come in and put him into a choke. The same thing protects all different variations. Because now if Matt were to work that to me, let's have I punch and you pop, okay? And so he does a loy pop and he puts me into a choke. So this is what we don't want to be in because it's a bad situation. And so when he does that, if I go here, see right away, even moving slow, what that did? It actually pressed my elbow between the two of us, and there's no way he can put a choke on me because I've got an arm, like a 2x4 between us. Now, I've seen some that as I was telling them about this, they would try to cheat it. Like I would punch, and he comes forward, and they just raise their arm. But if you just raise your arm, it may or may not work, but it doesn't clear all the slop. And if you'll take your time to do an actual clean, like Toma Guaijong, it will work against anything that comes behind you, whether it comes from the inside or the outside. It will work if you come in early or late. If I come in early, he goes, and I go early, it would have hit him in the face as a Guaijong. If I come in middle range, and I go here, maybe it comes over his shoulder. But notice he can't really effectively choke me from that position. I can get out of that. Even if he's there and he starts to clinch that in, I can still breathe from this position. And most likely, be able to peel that off or direct back into him, but come out of there. If I come in kind of even later, I punch, I circle, and come in even later, same, well, you might end up away from him, you might end up wherever, but there's no way you're going to get, choked. You escape the choke and you simultaneously attack. So when he comes in to do what he does, I go, one, and I want to, now it also symbolizes, placing your guard. If somebody takes your back, what you want to do is put your guard up as quick as you can. And so by doing this, I'm following Matt. If we go slow, as he goes behind me, watch my elbow. See? Even though it takes longer to turn the body, my elbow's following him around, and then I would attempt to turn with that. But it's just a natural response of like how you might have used Hao Chong Jin or Fox Sao when we use Fox Sao to protect the high line. If Matt's behind me and throws a punch, I go Fox Sao. So the same thing that blocked here for those oblique attacks, the same thing we use if it comes from high is the same thing we use is Guaijong. And so Guaijong is the preventative measure for the Guaijong choke. So hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye.